So what we're known for in the state capitol, of course, is lawmaking. We have a timeline each year when we're actually reviewing and voting on bills, but generating new laws and updating laws is a year-round process. So I just want to talk a little bit about that process. We have upcoming in December what we call our bill request deadline. So that's the timeline when we start to tell staff, legislative staff, what we need in a bill, what kind of change we're trying to make, what kind of update we're trying to do, what kind of law we're trying to get rid of, and they begin to prep the language for the actual bills that we'll start seeing in February when legislative session starts. Those deadlines are in January to get those bills filed. In the state Senate, we are able to file as many bills as we want. We have no limit on that. Of course, we're not going to get them all heard, but you'll start to see a lot of different ideas floating around. That doesn't mean that bill is going to get heard or move forward, but it might come from all kinds of different places. Sometimes bill ideas come from constituents. So I want to give you an example. I had a bill that finally made it into law last year that's been the end of a 5 or 6 year process. Early on in my career here, I had a constituent who's very knowledgeable about business development in Oklahoma talk to me about a venture capital, a way that we were trying to get venture capital in Oklahoma businesses years ago that had failed. It was a program, a tax credit that we started that had not proven successful. It was called the Oklahoma Capital Investment Board, and it did tax credits and used that money to invest in Oklahoma companies. Well, the proof wasn't there that this was working or that the way it was doing it was actually making change in businesses or growing our Oklahoma businesses. So the legislature took away the ability of them to invest, and that's been 12, 15 years ago. But they'd never done anything about the board as it stands. And so each year we were paying a management fee, and those funds were still sitting there unaccounted for. And I kept bringing this up with my colleagues when they would bring new ideas for business development. How do we encourage business in this state? And I would say, well, we don't even deal with those from the past that haven't worked well, that don't have the outcomes we need to see to really accelerate our economy. And so it took years before I was able to get a bill heard and through the legislature with bipartisan support to sunset that organization and make sure those funds are accounted for and are in our new programs that we know are working better. That's just an example where a constituent idea over time became a bill and eventually a law change. Your ideas matter. Those things you talk about with your colleagues, that you talk about with your coworkers, if you're a business owner, if you have concerns, you can be expressing those to your legislator as possible bill ideas. We are having our next Capitol conversation solely focused on bill ideas. November 18th at the state Capitol, 5:30 in the evening. It's your chance to be at the state Capitol and actually tell legislators your ideas. We're going to have an open mic with time limits for the public to participate. We've done these Capitol conversations for a couple of months. They've been very fruitful. People from all political stripes, all ages have come and told us their ideas, and it's been a really great way for us to learn and us to introduce people to each other. So if you want to come that day, we'd love to have you. If not, you can reach out to your legislator now. You can ask them what they're working on. You can give them your ideas and ask them to tell you what they're working on. I'd love to talk about what I'm working on with my constituents. To me, that's an important part of being responsive government. Making sure we're listening to real Oklahomans and the stakeholders about what law changes need to happen. So I encourage you to show up, speak up, and make sure you're involved with this process, because what we do in the state capitol should be serving you before serving politics.